Well, we're talking about deep voices.
Ooh.
Hello.
Boys are back.
Hearing the sultry voice of 3 middle-aged men stuck in the house.
Appreciate you calling me middle-aged, but I'll speak for myself, then.
I'm not stuck in the house. I want to be stuck in the house. I'm not stuck in the house.
I'm stuck in the house. Motherfucking Rona. Well, I don't know yet. We're still waiting. Let's see. Fucking Rona. On what was the nicest day of the year. Be waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go get fucking tested and then quarantine yourself for 7 days. Fantastic. Everybody
Can't
was
open
out.
a window.
You've seen my house? I don't have many windows. Open the front door and just stand outside stand in front of it with a mask on.
Mm-hmm.
Just have a yardstick, but like don't pass the yardstick.
It was a beautiful day for the world. Apparently, everybody was. They were firing fireworks over here.
Everybody, chill.
Yeah.
We're back to status quo. Like, chill.
Right. It's not just replace it with another old white guy.
We shoot off fireworks once we don't have to wear a mask. How about that?
Yeah.
I'm down with that. Then I'll shoot some fireworks.
Wait. Yeah. Shoot out the fireworks when we're able to have 3 steaks in the same room. Because we're actually recording in the same room.
Right.
None of the Zoom shit. I just ordered dinner though. I told him, just leave it on the front doorstep. Please.
Wife took advantage of this weather and grilled a whole bunch of chicken.
Wait.
I'll throw some at your door if you want. Just drive by. Leave the window open, my engine.
Just hear a thump. Thump.
Right.
Oh shit, that sounds like Sean's drive-through.
Right, hell, yo. I still got the arm. I ain't got the wheels no more, but I still got the arm.
How the fuck? You're a lefty though.
What?
Oh, so that's gonna be a fucking hook shot if you're driving.
Nah.
Unless you're making sure that you're driving southbound on my street, because then it's a shovel pass. That makes more sense.
No.
Oh gosh, Sean is a lefty. You seen that I guess is a TikTok, somebody who's like what lefties do?
No, not yet.
My man,
I haven't finished TikTok like my wife has.
She finished it.
Hold on a second, babe. You finished TikTok. You finished TikTok.
There's no FYP
like I did. Like
for your page.
Everything twice. I have. I think so.
Who's
I saw a little like
Alcor?
Xbox achievement thing pop up, like platinum trophy.
She won.
Congratulations on defeating TikTok.
Right, you have defeated it, and it hasn't shot one video. Like that's amazing.
You got through all the weird twerking videos.
Yeah, she's got through them all.
All the green screens.
All the elbows.
Right.
All the weird unseasoned chicken movements.
She's heard every sound. Like, and there goes me sleeping on the couch tonight. Bam!
Hey, now you can catch up.
Wouldn't be a week unless I got myself in trouble.
That's true. That's true. Well, welcome. We are here recording episode 97 of the Wisemen Wrestling Podcast with Rod, Ray, and Sean. We're all separated, especially me. Fucking Rona. It's like, I don't know. It's like, we've done a lot to keep away from this shit for the past 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
And it'd be your
I can't even say anything about myself. I work at a hospital. So
yeah, you work at a hospital, but you take care of yourself. I mean, you were
it's like I've done everything you wouldn't want to do.
Yeah, so it's like you take all these precautions. Man, I got Lysol in the car.
Dude, what is that behind you? Other shoulder, man. Other shoulder in the back of the room.
Oh, that's Lysol.
That's what I thought.
That's spray. That's cleaner because we're cleaning all the And we're not allowing anybody to come in the house, or obviously.
No.
But everything that we're touching, we're cleaning the surfaces.
This is an introvert's dream here.
Mm-hmm.
This is why Rod's so pissed off right now.
I mean,
if we're gonna go on lockdown again, I'm still gonna be going to work.
And I can still do my shit.
This is the ironic thing about Rod's situation. Rona, he had to keep going to work. The only thing that kept them from having Rod at work is riots in the streets.
And that barely worked because our store was the only store.
Because the mayor needed it. That's why.
Nobody wanted anything. Yeah, that's
it's
true.
The mayor's store. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's the mayor's store.
How else is she supposed to get her snacks and her whatever else she fucking gets?
Yeah, classified.
Not
allegedly.
Not a vehicle.
Allegedly.
Not a vehicle through the Puerto Rican restaurant that won't close up your Walgreens.
All I want from Lightfoot is for her to come in the store one day so she can see me not charge somebody 7 cents for a plastic bag. And I'm going to look at her. Like, what?
I'm not going to lie. I still forgot that was a thing.
Yeah, no, it's still happening, especially like at Target.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I know it's a Rahm Emanuel thing, but like, she could have come on.
It was like Preckwinkle with that bullshit ass soda tax, right?
Ooh, that was devastating.
Yeah, that hurt.
It's like,
I remember I was still in hotels then. I remember having to do that upcharge. I was like, yikes. And it was all tax too. Yikes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't know if you noticed, but my fucking sodas at McDonald's used to be 108. You're fucking with my shit now.
Right.
Now I got a budget.
It was funny because if I remember correctly, the people that were pissed off the most were like dollar stores because like the tax was more than the damn pop.
Yeah. I mean, we would go in there to get those the Arnold Palmer Arizona joint.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like the soda that you get with your hot dog at Costco is practically free.
Yeah.
But the tax was still there.
And wasn't there an argument about LaCroix in that regard too?
Yeah, it was.
LaCroix should be in the fucking pet aisle.
Hey.
Along with Coors Light, Bud Light,
and White Claw.
And White Claws.
Wait, I'm glad I got headphones on for that. You started fighting my house.
What, for White Claws?
Yeah. See?
Nothing that hasn't been said already.
See what I'm getting? I'm not even going to repeat
White
it because I'm the one that get my ass beat by 2 Puerto Rican women, not you.
You'll be all right. You'll be all right over there. Just drink a White Claw. You guys could claw it out. She's screaming in the back. It's like White Claw. And and now a message from our advertisement: White Claw, the official drink of the Wisemen West.
And the messed up thing is, since I have the green screen on, I can't see the other one sneak up on me like that.
Neither can we. Right. Just an app that comes straight through.
You can see a hand just.
I won't even know which one it was. I'll be like, oh my God.
That's what happens when you mess around with those TikTok green screens. You can't see reality.
Man. Uh-oh, she's coming.
You're so tense. Well, she's in the right lens.
There's 2 of them, man. They have access to pots. Anyway.
Yeah, don't tell her that we have an entire this little litter box full of White Claws out there.
You got a litter box full of White Claws?
Litter box.
Ridiculous.
Oh,
how people get drunk off of that shit. You gotta drink like 50 of them. Stop.
Well, the election tested those limits in this household.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, it was probably I had an issue where I had was immobile, so I can't tell you the last time I watched this much CNN.
Yo, they was wilding out near the end though.
It was great. I loved it. I loved every minute of it.
One cat was like, dude, fuck off. I'm like, yo.
Oh, yeah, that dude that turned around was like,
wilding out.
Well, because
wilding out on CNN now.
That's it. because there was a story that said that a lot of these journalists had to basically suck it up while he
Dude, I don't know, before they announced it, all of them were acting. It was like their last day on the job, and they put in their notice. It's just off the cuff, like, yo, fuck Trump. I don't even care if he gets elected.
It's like that's why I said it's like the worst fucking day to go get tested for coronavirus. It's like should have been out in these streets.
Like yesterday, like they was cracking on him in the morning, like, yo, look at this cat working hard on the golf course.
And he was back again at it today. He had to shoot the 2-day total. That's why.
Right. Yeah.
Like, enjoy all that golf, man. Jesus Christ. It is what it is. By the way, if you've seen my last Instagram post, I am up to now 26 pieces of candy of this 185 bag. Eat all this candy before I get released.
So, random fact about candy that I learned in the past 24 hours.
I don't want to hear this hospital propaganda.
No, we don't.
Fake news.
No. This is actually about like MREs. Me and Sonia were watching some videos about people eating MREs.
Mm-hmm.
And what I didn't know, that MREs have like a random small sample of Smarties in everyone. And that's like
hate Smarties.
That's like a cigarette. Like people like gamble those things.
Really?
Straight up, like you be like, yo, you do my chores, I'll give you Smarties.
Did she find that on a TikTok video?
No, they were talking about it on the video, and she reminded me. It's like, yeah, that's like legit crack.
Before the Smarties, they were Charms. They were the Charms blow pop candy.
Oh, those are horrible.
Hard candy version, not the blow pop part.
Nobody wants that. Anyway,
Interesting.
Nobody wants Smarties.
Hey,
that was horrible.
Have you had an MRE?
What the fuck is an MRE? First,
Yes, I have. The cheese and crackers is what's banging in those MREs.
Right. Like I am gonna legit try one. Like, there's an Army surplus store down on Madison, and I'm gonna get a whole bunch.
Chicken a la king.
You know.
Oh, don't do that chicken a la king. That's what Matthew eats to this day. It's like, whoa.
I wanna try that science experiment where you pour water into this bag that has a pouch at the bottom, and then the whole thing steams up.
Oh,
yeah.
Bill Nye the
those
Science
survival food kits. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You too can get a 6-month supply for $13.97 at campingsurvival.com.
That's all it costs?
I'm going down the street, kid.
I know those cheese and crackers would be banging now.
Yeah, I did find a TikTok video to make my
chicken
own
burrito bowl, vegetable chili, beef stew.
You guys are really living it up with your MREs. Well, we're going to have to.
Straight up.
This virus under control.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. Let's just throw a couple in my trunk. You never fucking know.
I'm just going to go to Stock and Save and buy a bunch of super donuts.
Those things don't last forever. No, don't do that. I thought they did, but they don't.
I have no intention on them lasting forever.
He's going to buy a week supply.
Did you hear what I said? I'm stuck in a house, and I'm in a house board. That's a TikTok video, too. Jesus Christ. Enough.
All right.
Speaking of social medias.
Hey, if you're just not joining us, this is a wrestling podcast.
Yeah, it's fake news. Fake news.
At this point,
we do what we want.
Life's been interesting.
We do what we want.
Yeah.
In some cases, depending on what night you watch. If you watch on Mondays, you can question if that's wrestling.
Oh God.
I went there.
I don't watch it on Mondays.
I went there.
No.
No.
You want to hear what I do on Mondays now?
No.
I'm back to watching football.
Ooh.
That's yeah.
I thought you were going to tell me playing 2K like I was this Monday, but that's fine.
Why are you still playing 21? I mean, it's just horrible.
What?
How did you learn how to shoot? Or do you just dunk on everyone?
No, I shoot. I press the button. I don't use the stick. Fuck that.
The stick and the aim?
No, I turn both of those off. I don't care.
Oh, well.
And I'm basically just like biding my time until I trip in my house and there's a PS5 in there. Then I'll play the new version.
I am very happy that on launch day I will be home. So Claire and I will skip Matthew's school so we can try to buy one online.
Sweet.
So yeah, I mean, I'm
never-
not pressed. If we don't get it, we don't get it. I'm not worried about it. It's like at some point they'll be available in stores.
That's what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure this isn't going to be a Wii-like situation. I did hear a good question from someone the other day where Apple never has this problem.
No, they make it in abundance so that there's
As
never
I say, like
sellout.
you never hear of like a shortage of iPhones
There's a back
at
order.
launch.
Yeah, there's a
like back order is
order.
one thing. Like you
But
gotta
you
wait
get it.
another week.
I
Right.
had the 11 Pro on back order, and I got it 3 days later.
Right.
I'm like, what back order? Wow. Okay.
That's like shenanigans on a shortage of supply BS. Whatever.
Got to create a demand.
It's so Rod, when you get your Xbox?
Around my birthday. Even though I feel like I should take a chance to order one anyway because people will be getting them early.
Early?
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people getting them early.
If you pre-order with Walmart, some people who pre-order with Walmart have actually got one already.
Yeah.
Can you activate it though? Is it one of those things that's just pretty until the 12th?
No, because they asked Xbox for a statement and they're just like, congratulations.
All right, cool.
It's like an accidental golden ticket.
Yeah.
Oops, we made too much. It's like Michael Scott. We gave them to all the same company.
That's what's up. I mean, I like what both systems have done where, previous to the generation that we're in, where it seems like a lot more games carry over.
Yeah.
I got 4 games now. Yeah, I got 4 games that are going to be able to be directly carried over onto the PS5, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I pre-ordered Miles Morales. By the way, somebody's got my Spider-Man, right?
I have your Spider-Man. I can throw that through the window with the chicken.
No. Just save it just in case I need it for a trade-in for that Xbox.
Straight up.
I'm okay with it. I already pre-ordered Miles Morales. Almost committed to the Watch Dogs Legion game. I heard good things about it, but I wanted to wait until I seen like a playthrough like you recommended the other day.
Yeah.
And Cyberpunk, whenever that fucking comes out. What comes out first? Hold on. What comes out first? Cyberpunk 2077 or a vaccine for the virus?
Not fun.
That's a good question because I'm pretty sure at least Pfizer's gonna try to eke one out before Trump leaves.
Nah, I think that's a wrap now.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Because it's
there's no benefit.
Unnecessary pressure on these companies.
Now everybody can ease off and get it right.
Yeah, exactly. So now I think now I'm more inclined to like, all right, I'll get this vaccine. I don't think we're gonna have a choice.
I think like I said, I think in some cases we're not gonna have a choice depending on your job situation.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna be the case. Yeah.
Emergencies, everybody that's been out since early March.
All of WWE.
Yeah. They'll be the first to get it.
Yeah.
Good shit.
They should just like take like a couple dozen helicopters and just spray it all over Florida.
Or do like
that's the funny thing. Like Florida's not even a hot spot no more.
It's everywhere else.
It's like in places like Wisconsin, Michigan, South Dakota.
But Texas is about to pop 1 million.
Yeah.
Good work.
Well, I mean, it sucks too because the South is better.
I bet you in some way Booker T takes credit for it.
If he does, I hope Stone Cold hits him with the vaccine across his head with a carton of milk like he was in the grocery store. Oh, you look thirsty. Yeah. But the South has been battered, and Florida's about to get hit right now with another tropical storm, hurricane.
That's like the untold story of 2020.
That we've gone the entire alphabet and half of the Greek alphabet already. Right.
Like this 2020 hurricane season has been record setting, but because there is no cruising and, nothing really going on out there, unfortunately, people haven't really been talking about it. It's been 28 name storms.
And Edda
which is so far to tie with 2005 for the most active.
Jesus.
12 have been hurricanes, 5 that have been category 3 or more higher, with a damage total so far of over $33 billion US. Like literally, they've gone through the alphabet and now they're on Edda. Like I don't even know what that is. What's Edda? Edda.
I don't know.
Yo. Now they're just making up. Like that's not even a Greek word. Like Edda. Like what, bro?
That's fucked up.
So I mean, no. You know what's fucked up? This. You know when 2020 hits hard. New England had an earthquake today.
You brought that up, and I was like, I was playfully
like that headline alone. You're like, wait, what? New England had an earthquake of 3.6.
All that damn celebrating.
No, that's Boston, man. Ain't nobody celebrating in Boston.
I'm sure there's a bunch of Sweet Caroline chants going on right now. Oh, that's fucking dope.
And anybody get the creeps of that Simpsons map from like 15 years ago that looks identical to Biden's map right now?
Yeah.
Bro,
that legit gave me the creeps. Nothing else gave me the creeps, but that legit gave me the creeps.
Everybody wants to sit there and talk about Jay-Z being a part of the Illuminati. I was like, has anybody looked at Matt Groening at all?
Oh, dog. He's got a time machine in his basement. I swear to God.
He's not of this earth.
It's mathematics.
Okay. Because there's been so many Simpsons episodes, there's bound to be one to have one.
No, he's a legit math genius.
Okay.
Like a super duper math genius, and he applies mathematics to statistics to kind of predict certain things. And he just keeps nailing it on the head on like weird stuff.
Well, then he needs to start. Why is he in Hollywood? He needs to be at Vegas.
Yeah, this dude needs to hook me up with the Back to the Future almanac.
Well, I mean, I'm taking this cat to the casino like Rain Man, kid.
I mean, it's like 79 like seasons of The Simpsons. I think he can buy Vegas at this point.
Because it's not only on Fox, isn't it? Which streaming service is it on?
Disney Plus.
Oh, he's good.
Yep.
And you get that Futurama money too, don't he?
Yeah.
Futurama money. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, he's still getting, and that's still heavy on Comedy Central.
They brought it back.
Yeah,
they brought it back.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I think they brought it back a couple times.
If you could bring Family Guy back from the dead a couple times, you can bring Futurama back. You know which one I really wish they would bring back? Freakazoid.
Yeah,
that's Freakazoid too.
Freakazoid was pretty dope.
I thought Animaniacs was making a comeback.
They are. November 20th. They have new episodes on Hulu.
On Hulu, man.
Cool.
I'm excited.
I am excited. I hope they go all in, man.
Yeah.
Not on the Kids Network no more.
Fuck the kids.
Just play ball. Just play ball. Know who your audience is. Just play ball, man.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the day, Animaniacs was low key a mature anyway.
Yeah.
Like old boy saying, I fingered Paris. Like, wait, what? No, Prince. I fingered Prince. Like, wait, what? Chill.
30 minutes into the shit, we still haven't talked about wrestling.
Yes, we have. All these are WWE storylines.
Oh, yeah. This is the thought process.
We have recapped Raw.
Yeah, this is a live look in at the writers' room because they've already written the episode that's been thrown out. So let's talk about some other shit.
Straight up. Such good shit. All right.
Oh.
Where are we going to start with this? Let's start off with some, like, a tip of the cap.
All right.
A tip of the cap to Kylie Rae, who, since our last episode, has announced she is no longer a professional wrestler and is going to retire from both wrestling and social media, which I think almost go hand in hand these days. But much respect to Kylie Rae for recognizing that it was time to go. I think way too many performers in general in every form of media and sports find it hard to know when it's time to step away, both from a mental health standpoint and a physical health standpoint. And if you are able to walk away in good sound mind, body, and spirit, you should be able to do that.
Agreed.
JB agrees.
Right? It's all right.
Is it
right.
Oh, yeah. Best wishes to Kylie Rae and whatever endeavor she takes on next. Like I said, I'm not mad at anybody who does what's necessary to take care, look out for themselves, numero uno, especially when it comes to mental, physical, emotional health. I mean, with everything that we've been exposed to over the past year in the wrestling world, from the back end, you know what I mean? Like, not everybody needs to be, the hero that we see on television, People really need to take care of themselves. Like, really, truly take care of themselves. So I'm happy for her to get out whenever she felt like she needed to get out. And I will say this because I can't let it go. I'm going to leave it alone as long as she stays going. I mean, I expect her face to show up again sometime in the future in a different capacity, But if she comes back to wrestling, it's kind of almost the same warning that I put out last time, but I'm going to have to double down on this one. She comes back to wrestling, there are questions that got to be answered. And I don't think it's from the perspective of her per se, but more of the perspective of either what happened or what she saw that made her say, I got to go. Because I can't help that in the back left corner of my mind, I'm putting together puzzle pieces between her exit, the timing of it, and somebody. I'm looking at this Don Callis situation, and I'm going,
Well, why don't you expound on that Don Callis situation for those who might not know?
Don Callis showed up on Full Gear last night, so I think they call him the senior vice president or senior executive over at Impact Wrestling. Showed up and actually called the match between Kenny Omega and Hangman Page last night on AEW Full Gear. On the surface, it looks like they're making friends. When Kylie Rae decided to take a step back from wrestling last time, she was stepping away from AEW. So I'm gonna leave it there.
Okay.
Draw your own conclusions.
Right.
But I mean, truly, I do wish her all the best.
Yeah, definitely, especially since she's one of our own local talents.
It also makes me have a couple words for Booker T as well.
We always got space for that.
I mean,
you should just develop a section where it's just.
I mean,
Kylie
Kylie Rae
doesn't deserve any, but yeah.
I mean, the thing is that Kylie Rae was the best export from Booker T's School of Professional Wrestling. She's out. You have nothing else. You have nothing else.
And we was it recently, wasn't like we were talking about other people need to open their schools. Didn't Cody Rhodes just sign 2 people from his training academy too?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, but yeah, enough of Booker T. Fuck him.
Yeah.
We don't need to get up on that. Fuck him.
So, what else? Some actual great wrestling happened over the past couple weeks since we last spoke.
Yeah,
True.
there's some good stuff.
I will save this. NXT Halloween Havoc. I believe they still do the replays on Hulu, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah.
And of course, this is also available on the WWE Network.
Yep.
I would go out of your way if you're a casual fan, if you're a fan of the old WCW, if you just want to see some cool professional wrestling, some good storytelling, if you want to see a good complete package, it's worth your time to go out of your way to watch this show. I enjoyed this from top to bottom.
Yeah, it was a really, really, really good card. And it was a Wednesday night, which made you feel like, oh, wow, they fit all of that into 2 hours.
And of course, we're not the only people that share this opinion. They actually won the ratings that night as well. So
yeah, they did.
A rare ratings win for NXT on Wednesday nights over AEW. Yeah, I'm just because I think that's the more accessible show, and I don't really have too much I want to say about it in particular. But it was great, and if you really want to see some great wrestling, especially with the women,
Killing it.
Yeah, killing it. Definitely check out Halloween Havoc. Worth your time.
And somebody took advantage of the fucking quarantine time. Mr. Dunn. Jesus. Man came back ripped.
Yeah.
It's like I almost busted out the exercise bike. It's
like that plant life according to him.
Oh no. Can't do that.
Yeah, one of those outside connections, Pat McAfee, that wasn't a one-time thing apparently.
I don't think anybody should have expected that to be a one-time thing because he's been lingering around WWE for the last 3 or 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Triple H was a fan of him. I know Vince wasn't. So that's probably the reason he's been kind of kept on the sidelines up to this point. Now that Triple H has found a way to bring him in, now he's in. And then he's already shown like he's an asset. In an ironic sense, before Pat McAfee came back, I was thinking that NXT was losing its identity in so many sorts and just becoming another WWE vehicle. And I'm not saying it's Pat McAfee himself who brought NXT back, but just like timing perspective.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it brought it back to the way it was where, you know, NXT used to be this, and it's still kind of this show where like from week to week, you were excited about what was going to happen next. But over, I would say since the beginning of the pandemic leading up to about a month ago, it became just an alternative to AEW, in my opinion. I mean, good wrestling, but it didn't have that luster it did pre-AEW.
And I think the numbers showed that as well. And I think they recognized that and they decided to have a Corona party. Because they saw Survivor Series coming up. It's like, you want to be a part of that? Nope.
Yeah.
And decided to separate themselves from that main brand.
Totally brings a new meaning to Survivor Series.
Mm-hmm. And shouts out to all the wrestling journalists, Jason Solomonster and Sean Ross South for normalizing Corona Coliseum. I'm going to thank you guys for that.
I thought it was pretty funny. I do enjoy that.
Down there at the COVID Coliseum. That's great.
COVID Coliseum. And I find it ironic in a way because AEW has caught a little bit of flack for having people in the stands. Yet WWE is the one with the outbreaks when they've had no one in the stands.
Message.
Yeah, Florida's nasty.
Don't go to Florida. If you do, go to Jacksonville instead of Orlando. I think that's the message. But it's just, I think the thing I got from Halloween Havoc, besides the action in the ring, is someone can make themselves a star without ever stepping foot in the ring, and that was Shotzi Blackheart.
Yes. Shotzi, who was probably sidelined because she probably is dealing with a concussion situation. But she took peanuts and made peanut butter.
Straight up. She made the most of it, man.
Yeah.
Really did. I mean, she was entertaining. She was the hostess with the mostest. You know, and it brought back, like you said, that old WCW feeling when it came to Halloween Havoc.
Right. Solomon made this point on his podcast that whereas the WWE itself, the main roster, they kind of suck at like gimmick pay-per-views, but it seems like NXT just knows how to knock these out of the park. And the fact that we just had this Halloween Havoc, and now we're probably going into another War Games. And those shows are always exciting as well. Like, we should just trust NXT with the gimmicks.
They knocked it out of the park.
There's a difference in the gimmicks of both of what NXT is doing, what WWE is doing. WWE overdoes the gimmicks in their gimmick pay-per-views. Like 3 Hell in a Cell matches in a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Bit of overkill. Halloween Havoc was a vibe, you know, more than it was, you know, a gimmick. Like it wasn't like a Halloween Havoc match per se.
Right.
And War Games is typically one match, if I'm correct. I think last year they had a women's and a men's, but for example, I mean, still not overkill.
Right.
But yeah, like WWE does something, they do like 5 of them, like Money in the Bank. You're gonna have 3 of them, or you know, something stupid where it just overblows, and then they back themselves in the corners like they did with Clash of Champions, where, you know, like we discussed, you know, that you have to define every belt, but now you find yourself in a weird situation because your top stories don't involve belts.
Yeah.
Bruh. Like, so now back-to-back pay-per-views, you haven't had your best wrestler, or should I say your most over wrestlers on the card because you can't book them into these matches. You know, The Fiend hasn't wrestled in, 2 or 3 pay-per-views now?
I'm okay with it just because of the direction the story is going. But normally, I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, and
then the whole Mysterio Aaliyah thing, like,
God,
again, like, I'm not saying I'm a fan of it, but they're investing so much time to it on TV. You would think they'd find a way to put it on a pay-per-view.
It's the same thing, like with
no retribution at any pay-per-views. It's
the same thing with like the Sammy Guevara, Matt Hardy thing. It's like, I just want that shit to end already. And for the love of God, I hope it did last night.
Well, perfect segue into the other spectacular show to talk about this week. which is Full Gear. The buy-in is not really so much casual friendly, unless you know nefarious means to watching this show. But if you still believe in the pay-per-view model, this is worth $50 to the believers.
Indeed.
To the believers.
And I'll say this. A good portion of why it was worth $50 was as much as I shudder to think about it in this regard. The fan noise made a difference.
Yes.
Legit pops make a difference. Again, like I said, I shudder at the thought of it because of the world we live in right now.
Mm-hmm.
But from an entertainment standpoint, from a watching it on TV standpoint, the difference between piped-in sound, a live crowd, or a few wrestlers at ringside, there's a glaring difference between them all.
You took the words out of my mouth. It's like we've complimented on this podcast what they've had. This would be number 7 pay-per-views since its existence, AEW, and all of them were really good except post-COVID. We said the same thing about the last pay-per-view, which was what was their last one? Was it All Out? Yeah, All Out, right?
Yeah. All Out was disappointing for so many reasons.
Right, and we paid for it. Well, I paid for it. It's like, all right, it's harder. It's harder for AEW because there is no crowd.
Right.
I mean, you can get away with some of the stuff with this Thunderdome stuff because, I mean,
You can make it up.
huh?
You can make it up.
Yeah, yeah, and not only that, but they seem to have a better production team when it comes to getting noise. It's like, oh shit, look at that. It's like, oh, everybody's responding, but it's just the past.
That's because
couple,
WWE has piped in noise before.
they're used to it, just like
Right.
just like the Minnesota Twins back in the old Metrodome.
Yes.
It's just really hard to engage, but they're lucky because they have really, really good performers. So, last night was I enjoyed it for the most part. There's some matches that I could have done without, but
I think I will say this, and I would say it's the number 2 pay-per-view they've had all year, with the exception of Revolution being number 1. And again, Revolution's number 1 because of the crowd. Again, like the Chicago crowd was electric for that one, and
that was beautiful. I mean, that was in my opinion, honestly, that was their top pay-per-view so far. Like throughout their existence, it was that good. And maybe it was because it was different because I was in the crowd.
Right. Obviously. I mean,
but that's the stuff that you want, right? It's like you want to sell that type of experience because then it becomes word of mouth, and now you got a bunch of people paying $50 for these pay-per-views who are not going to go pay, the prices in Chicago in the middle of February to try to, come and hang out. So I was just a huge fan of that pay-per-view. That pay-per-view was fantastic.
It was. It definitely was it. And Full Gear made me miss the days of wrestling in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Well said.
From the starting match with, Omega and Paige, which took us a year to get to this match, and it was worth it.
Yes.
You could make a case that it was arguably the best match of the night.
Nah.
I wouldn't argue with you if you felt that way.
Yeah, but I'm still giving that to the Bucks and FTR, man.
They put on the clip that they promised us on Twitter.
Bro,
that was great.
the FTR Bucks match, I had lower expectations of, for the simple fact, most of the time we wait a long time for a match. The hype becomes so big that the match itself cannot even touch it.
AKA AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a perfect analogy. But this one did, and then, like, it was insane.
Mm-hmm.
I just kept cringing at how many times those Jordans got creased. Bucks were, and the first thing I said too, I was like, fuck. I was like, Bucks come out in fucking Lakers colors, FTR comes out in Celtics colors. Los Angeles hasn't had taken an L this year, so I'm going Bucks. I'm going Bucks.
And they got us by the stories coming out the day before about Matt Jackson's knee.
Yeah. It was a hook line. It was over wrestling talk. Major star gets injured before pay-per-view. I was like, oh shit.
And it explained so much, because it explained why the Bucks hadn't had a real match in months. It just made all perfect sense. You're sitting here like, crap. This is gonna fuck up the match too.
Absolutely. The Young Bucks have put on two of my favorite matches of the year. I mean,
they just it was insane. You know, and I enjoyed that match.
So yeah, talk to the internet and tell them that the Young Bucks are not spot monkeys anymore. Like we can dent that narrative. They're not flippity floppity guys. They're not spot monkeys. They are not without ring psychology. These guys know how to wrestle. They love this business.
And this is what I want people to stop when it comes to wrestling, especially when people start talking about spot monkeys. When I think of people who talk about spot monkeys and, you know, spot monkeys are wrestling, like we'll go with the Ricochets, the Will Ospreays, you know, those are the usual, and, you know, Young Bucks, of course, are usually the names that come up when you talk about spot monkeys.
Mm-hmm.
Before he came into WWE, those four names were the most popular names in wrestling, right?
Right.
So if you're pissed about spot monkeys, you are the same people who are pissed about hip hop having no lyrics in popular music. You are the same people who did not listen to Jay-Z when he told you don't want to hear lyrics. You did not listen to the song him, M, and 50 said about syllables. So for you Jim Cornette fuckers in the world,
mm-hmm,
who are bitching about the spot monkeys, look at the crowd who pops for it, because that is what people want. That is what people pay for. And that's all the Bucks are doing, is giving people what they pay for. Now, if they went there and people were popping for the wrestling stuff, the 1 hour grind matches, they'd be Randy Orton. And we'll get to that in a minute. But that's the fact of the matter. While some of the promoters don't like that stuff, Vince, the fans pop for it. The fans pay money to see it. That's why matches with like Will Ospreay and Kota Ibushi make, you know, Uncle Dave's, you know, in between his legs get all warm.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I was just like, when you were trying to figure it out, I'm like, no.
But you just have to, you know, understand. Like, it's what people want. So shut up. And everybody left. I'm by myself. It's awesome.
No, just had to shut the door.
Uh-oh. He's banned his own kid. It gets worse. Wait, it gets worse.
But yeah, what are my thoughts about Full Gear? Those two matches were awesome. Orange Cassidy, I didn't expect that to be that entertaining of a match, but it was.
Orange Cassidy is a much smarter man than anybody gives him credit for.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
He understands his role because he's already shown he can legit wrestle. Like, he could do all the stuff anybody else does in a ring.
Mm-hmm.
But he understands his gimmick and understands how to use his gimmick to get over. And that's literally the name of the game. He might not be in a position to be the world title holder, but he's always on the card. He's selling out his merchandise. The crowd pops for him. It's not a bad spot to be in.
Yeah, and you had to also give it up to John Silver as well.
Oh, yeah.
So this mid-card on AEW is looking very entertaining. Coming from Darby Allin winning the TNT Championship. In another incredible match against Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes, indeed.
That's a hell of a trade-off. No, they dropped the Bash at the Beach and all of these copyrights to get your name back.
Yeah, so look out for NXT Presents Slamboree. I'm looking forward for that one.
That's why I didn't want to jump into that while we were talking about like the Halloween Havoc with NXT. It's like NXT is going to have a bunch of those now that they'll be able to get those for a name. It's a hell of a trade.
And this is the thing that it's a hell of a trade, but it's something that's bothered me about NXT over the last few months from a competition standpoint. NXT keeps running these specials to compete with AEW, who's basically just running their regular shows.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes away from what NXT used to do, that made it so great. NXT just used to be a great show. It didn't need gimmicks. It didn't need specials.
I mean, I totally understand why they do it. It doesn't matter how close or how far you want to put NXT to the main roster. That's always going to be a place. That's always going to be a cookie jar that Vince can stick his hand in at any given time and take whoever he wants from there, whether he watches the product or not. And that makes it very difficult to build a show around faces and stars. But even on the main roster, they do shuffling and drafts and all this other crap. So, and it just speaks to that issue that you guys were talking about in all sports, where they don't build stars anymore. They don't build around names. They build around events in stadiums. And unfortunately, that's what NXT is going to suffer from, is not being able to build around anybody. Because as soon as we get to really loving somebody, pluck, they're gone. And it's still being considered moving up to the main roster. That's still the language and the jargon that's used. The silver lining in this, in Triple H being such a WCW fan, is that when carefully curated, these are still awesome shows. And in terms of competition, they work.
Yeah.
Like, and you're not going to be able to convince the McMahon or anybody on that side anything. You're not able to convince them of anything if something is working. So it's kind of like NXT will continue to not have a solid identity, but when allowed to do certain things, like taking these old WCW gimmicks, I mean, they're doing them right. They just do.
But it also lends, in my opinion, to the perception Vince McMahon has of WCW, NXT, and AEW. That they are, all three brands are lesser than Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah, we know that already.
Yeah.
So yeah, my other thoughts about Full Gear. I want to make sure I give all the flowers first.
Before you break, I want to give a flower to Eddie Kingston.
Yeah, there you go.
If you would have told me, in July, that Eddie Kingston would be headlining a pay-per-view on pay-per-view in the next 5 years. In the next 5 years, I would have asked, "What's in your cup?"
You already know what's in the cup. White Claw.
Mango White Claw aside. The way they did it in a relatively short period of time, and frankly, on the basis of his ability to cut promos, is a testament to everybody involved. Because that's not something that's supposed to happen in our world of wrestling. It's just not.
You're right.
It's just not supposed to happen. I credit Eddie Kingston for being able to cut a promo on a bag of Sour Patch Kids. I credit Moxley, who spoke up to make this match happen. Tony Khan for allowing it to happen.
Just for being a fan.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this, everything that came to make this match happen.
And let's just make this clear. Like, I've been to several AEW Pro shows here in Chicago. An indie promotion that doesn't air on TV. Eddie Kingston never headlined any of those. He was never the marquee guy, even on the indie show.
No. Even when he came back to, he was in NWA for a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't a marquee guy in that.
No.
He was the same cat. In Impact, he was the voice behind LAX. The hype man, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
This man wrestled, what was that, like a 30, 35-minute, 40-minute match? Hardcore match?
Mm-hmm.
With the number one PWI wrestler of 2020. I'm going to paint this picture for you. That is the equivalent of Machiavelli, whatever he calls himself, in NXT, getting to wrestle Daniel Bryan on a pay-per-view. That's the way people need to look at it. Not supposed to be there. And I'm saying he doesn't deserve it, because he sure as hell did. But people need to recognize the possibilities that are happening in wrestling in general right now. Because people are getting opportunities they would have never had a year ago.
Yeah. And I love it. I love that we're to this point now where people are not afraid, and promotions are not afraid to take this industry and turn it upside down. We needed this reset button.
I mean, Sarah D was a coach at NXT 6 months ago.
That's all she would ever be.
Right.
In the WWE system.
Correct. And now she's holding the NWA women's title.
And defended it on television.
And now is in a feud between two former NWA champions. That's what wrestling is doing for us right now.
He did get a lot of shit on Twitter about his gear though.
Oh,
Kingston.
and I'm sure he cared a whole bunch.
He can handle
it. We got to hook him up with McCarthy.
I'm sure he cared a whole bunch.
He can handle it. It's fine.
He's fine.
It'll be fine.
I put it like this: nothing. Knowing the people he's surrounded by, anything that was said on Twitter had nothing to do.
Has already
nothing
been said.
to compare with the people backstage.
Right.
Jericho walking up to you. What the fuck is that ass clown? Yeah. But continue. I apologize. Go with your.
But yeah, before I get into the biggest thing I want to talk about, MJF and Chris Jericho. Thoughts?
That's a heavy sigh.
Yeah.
It was because, in my opinion, this is a feud that didn't need to happen.
Okay.
And it was swimming upstream from the very beginning. Because you're trying to perform a feud between two top heels who are very much alike with no stakes involved. There appears to be no motivation on either side for competition besides being the top asshole in AEW.
Wouldn't you say that this was kind of like a test run, considering this was the first time that we've kind of seen a heel versus heel in AEW?
I'll be willing to go out on that limb, just because it's one of those situations where you don't really have anything else for them to do right now.
Correct.
So I like the idea of kind of pairing them together to do the comedy stuff, because that's been great. I don't think we got a chance to talk ever since the musical happened. But that was kind of unexpected, but a very sense making situation that they came up with there. I knew that we were going to build to a match between them, but I didn't think it was going to be like this. I understand, like, you got to get them on the card some way, somehow. This is a major pay-per-view. But they really didn't go in there with anything to do.
Right.
So it kind of took me out of the match aspect, and for good reason, because the match wasn't really all that great at all either.
No.
Um,
I see when I saw these two paired together, Inner Circle aside, I immediately thought of Jericho and Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
And again, stakes. Kevin Owens had the title. So this could only end good in one way, and that's MJF screwing Jericho over.
Yeah, I kind of figured that. It's just that they're not getting to it, or they're taking their time getting to this point. But I feel like a feud between Jericho and MJF would be for control over the Inner Circle, being the leader of the Inner Circle.
And that's where you lose me. And the reason you lose me, name the last big match Inner Circle's won.
Yeah, I got you. I mean, I'm just saying, like, without that, I don't see why this match happened.
Right.
Like, that's just me. Like, you couldn't continue with the comedy stuff until you got to that point where something was actually really on the line, not just membership. But I guess, like, now, the storyline is that now he's going to be like the monkey wrench inside of the Inner Circle.
Correct. And I guess I would have just booked this whole thing differently. Like, I would have added a part of this story where Jericho asks for the ring. And that setting MJF on a dark path. Like, it's all fun and games till you ask for the ring. Because if it's just about MJF flipping, being the cancer within Inner Circle and making its way out, from a creative standpoint, now you have an entire stable with nothing to do. And they already seem directionless in begin with since Jericho's lost the title.
Mm-hmm.
And now even more so, I guess. Unless you create a situation where they start picking sides or whatever. I don't know. But without stakes, I mean, maybe the prize is Jericho's ego to MJF. It's just like, it feels like a reach. It's like,
Yeah, I don't know. I hope to at this point kind of be surprised because it's not necessarily going the way that I thought it was going to go. So yeah. I'm just hoping at this point to kind of be surprised by it.
Yeah, I see what Jericho's doing because he's done it since he's been in AEW, which is picking a young star to bring up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's MJF's turn, basically. So I felt like this story could have made more sense right after he screwed Cody.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of Jericho feuding with Orange Cassidy. Just from a timing standpoint. Because both were like real hot. Both had just screwed over Cody.
I mean, they kind of started it back then too.
Yeah,
we're kind of going back to it because they did kind of go their separate ways for a while.
Yeah, but most wrestling fans have short memories.
Mm-hmm.
So the details of that story really aren't hitting. Well, might not hit to some people, but I mean, with the match last night, I agree with you. And again, maybe it's the placement of the match, and maybe it was intentionally that way, where it wasn't supposed to be a great match because of the card that it was on.
Mm-hmm.
You had to have a match that wouldn't suck the air out of the room or whatever case may be. So, I mean, what match? Yeah, it followed the Matt Hardy, Sammy Guevara match.
Elite deletion.
Which is another thing. I think we got to be done with Matt Hardy's cinematic matches. I'm going to have to say it.
Okay.
I think, yeah. I mean, I said it earlier and didn't want to spoil it.
Yeah. Unless we get something new. But I don't feel like we got anything new out of the Ultimate deletion. I feel like it followed the same pattern as before for the most part. I mean, it was cool to see Hurricane and Green Grail. But that's the only thing I'll say about it, that it was cool to see him, per se.
You were actually excited about Gangrel?
I think Gangrel is one of those guys who got raw end of the stick. Ultimately.
Pun intended.
Huh?
Pun intended?
Pun, all of it.
You said raw.
Yeah. I just feel like what led him off the path that he was on has happened before, and people have recovered, and for some reason he didn't. So, whatever.
Well, I guess that'll make me in the minority because I thoroughly enjoyed it. And
there were some moments.
I wanted this. So I wanted this at the last pay-per-view.
Okay.
I know why we didn't get it.
Why didn't we get it?
We didn't get it because all of this is the first of all, this is the great thing that AEW is doing. The veterans are finding a little brother to take under their wing and kind of bring them up. And Sammy is going to be one of the faces of this company going forward. The one thing that this pay-per-view did as a whole, it actually put over the next generation very well. After this, you kind of clearly saw who's next up.
Okay.
This feud has dragged on for so long because they are trying their best to get you to forget what Sammy Guevara got in trouble for. They want you to clearly see that he's quote-unquote paying for it because he's not getting any wins in any of these situations. And he's kind of being dragged in from one goofy situation to the next, to the next, to the next. They just want you to forget about what he did so that they can move on.
Yeah, who did?
What Sammy did.
I think, okay.
Right. Because that's what's going to happen with the guys who got in trouble. If you're going to keep them on, you got to drag them through the mud in front of everybody, and you got to do it long enough for that thing to not be the topic of conversation per se.
See, I think Sammy Guevara is in a different situation in that regard, though, because unlike everybody else, the person he affected has forgiven him openly, publicly.
Right. I mean, people were still killing him, though.
Yeah.
But they're not doing it anymore.
No.
So, like I said, for me, from my perspective, I understand why this feud has dragged on for so long. In my opinion, this is what should have happened at the last pay-per-view instead of Matt Hardy damn near killing himself. And from my perspective, this is the reason why I signed Matt Hardy to this company. To be a mentor, and to do stuff like this versus actually wrestling inside of that ring. It doesn't always have to be a elite deletion or a final deletion, but in a situation where you have like these partial capacity crowds, and you're kind of infusing more sports entertainment into your wrestling product, which is not a bad thing if you're doing it right. I personally want to see more of this. I think I can agree with you guys in terms of being done with the cheesiness of it. But the cinematic stuff from this, to the Undertaker match, to the stuff that Bray Wyatt does, like this is if we're going to lean into sports entertainment to help us get us by, I want to see more of this. So for me, this was kind of like overdue, and was a hell of a lot better than Britt Baker and Big Swole, which I felt like would have been a lot better if he was involved in that instead of working his own program.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and then as far as Gangrel and Hurricane are involved, you know that was a continuation from the last one, right?
Enlighten me.
It was an Easter egg. So the last final deletion match they did was in WWE, and it was a Halloween special.
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of the Halloween special, Gangrel kidnapped the Hurricane.
Right.
And held him captive.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is that he's been captive for this long. And Matt Hardy told him, he's like, yo, what took you so long? He was like, yo, I have to wait to get to AEW so I can finish the story. I'm sorry. Okay. That got to pop out of me. So
look at you with your Easter eggs. You're always paying attention.
I see these things, especially with these cinematic things. Like when you do a cinematic match, everything that you film is on purpose. So you got to pay attention to everything.
So the Britt Baker and Big Swole was on purpose?
No, unfortunately. And we're going to talk about these ladies next.
Do we have to?
I got something I need to say.
Okay. No, I was joking, really, but yeah. Go ahead.
So let me start with what I liked. Nyla Rose came dressed as Mega Man. Cosplaying in AEW is king.
Gosh.
They just do it right.
I'm still popping over Omega coming out of Sands.
Yeah.
Bruh.
And didn't they even do a little advertisement spot for AEW games?
Yeah, because
they're gonna have games all over the place, man.
Yeah. They already do like the D&D live streams and everything. Yeah, so it's going to be kind of like its own thing now. And I guess that has to be the vehicle that they're going to use to finally announce this AEW video game. Has to be.
Wait. Video games.
Yeah.
Tony Khan said yesterday there are going to be multiple video games within the next year. And with somebody like Kenny Omega involved around, bruh. And then, you got other guys, like Miro, who are already on the Twitch game. They already kind of gave us a taste of that AEW up, down, down type life. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. They just, want to get off on the right foot. And that's what I'll give AEW credit for. While they do throw a lot of spaghetti against the wall, there are certain things that they take their time with.
Yeah, it's a lot of robust spaghetti. It's handmade spaghetti. 7 hour in a pot sauce.
Right. But there's some other times where you could tell they just like took a couple strands, threw it against the wall, see if it sticks. Like, no, it didn't stick. All right, let's get some more. Nightmare Collective. Anyway.
Well, that speaks to freedom.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into later. Let me talk about these ladies real quick. This was an okay match. I kind of feel like I'm saying that because I've seen this before. And I kind of also feel like they threw this on here because we had to have a women's match. We had to have a women's title match.
Yep.
This AEW title doesn't feel special anymore.
Nope.
Part of that because the NWA women's title was here, and that title situation looks way more intriguing than this one. But I am going to throw the women in the match some bail because I feel like this is a match that they kind of just threw together at the last minute. There was really no story going into this at all. There really wasn't anything to care about. You can argue, well, Vicky Guerrero was a difference maker. But ever since Vicky Guerrero announced that she was going to be the valet or the manager for Nyla Rose, correct me if I'm wrong, they've been on TV maybe once since then.
Yeah, it hasn't worked out.
Maybe AEW Dark a couple times, which in my opinion doesn't count. It may be canon, but that's for the nerds, Yeah, there wasn't a lot of special going on to this match, so I'm not going to blame the women for it. I'm going to put this on the company. We have been nothing but belligerent in asking and telling and demanding that this company take this women's division seriously. They've done things, but at this point, there's not a lot of oomph into it. You know what I mean? To take anything seriously in this company, full of professionals who, for the most part, either wanted to be free, or have no interest in being a part of the regime that is the WWE. Because let's just be real, we've been operating as a renegade company for quite some time. We can't stop taking the digs at the WWE, right? You got a bunch of working professionals who just need an opportunity to go out there and work. Now you have AEW Darks that have 12, 13, 14, 15 matches and people complaining about how long these shows are. which I have a rant for those guys as well. Because why are you complaining about a YouTube show? Stop it. We were talking about before, they're not doing house shows, so they're not getting their reps. But they're getting plenty of reps now. They're getting plenty of exposure now. They're getting plenty of ring time now, even through a pandemic. You need to put these women in a situation where instead of trying to protect them or kind of just tack them on to this big thing that in which you forgot about them, you need to give them enough rough for them to hang themselves at this point. You need to commit to some sort of standard so that these women have a real opportunity to make a difference on television and in pay-per-view. I think at the very least, you could have committed to 2 women's matches on this show. I understand the show was incredibly long.
No, it wasn't.
Well, there were complaints about that too. As much
I
as
ain't going with that one.
Yeah, I'm not rolling with that either. I was still able to play some Call of Duty last night.
as much as I like Elite Deletion, it went a little long.
Okay.
And there was another match that probably went a little long as well. But I mean, regardless, commit to putting 2 women's matches on pay-per-views going forward. Commit to putting 2 women's matches on AEW Dynamite, 2 or 3 matches going forward. If they suck, they suck. But at least you can't be accused of not giving these women opportunities.
Absolutely. Well said.
That's pretty much my rant there.
I'll say this about this whole women's situation. It feels like they're waiting for something.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it feels like to me.
Right.
Now, I do not want to discount, and I don't feel it's her fault. I'm gonna blame the company as well. Sheeta's a damn good wrestler. She could be the Asuka of AEW. And I say could be, obviously booking, comes to play and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But they have yet to put her in a ring with somebody who can showcase that. Even Nyla Rose.
So, well, go ahead. Let me let you finish.
They need to shit or get off the pot as it relates to the NWA Women's Championship. As it relates, is it part of AEW or not?
I agree.
If it's going to be your TNT championship, fine. Book it like that. Have a championship match every week like you're doing with the TNT championship. But from the world title picture, it feels like they're waiting for something.
Mm-hmm.
And I speculate, I don't know if that's Tessa. I don't know if that's Statlander coming back or some of these overseas people, being able to come back. I don't know what that is. But this just feels like them spinning in mud and not really know what to do with it right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is, though. It's
like it's ironic because, and it's been said in many places, the NWA title is being booked better.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's like, how is somebody else's promotional championship belt your hottest feud on your promotion? It just doesn't make any sense.
Oops. That's an
and,
oops.
And we're far past the shit or the get off the pot at this point, because this has been a constant problem since its inception.
Well, when it comes to the NWA title, the oops that they made with that is, frankly, just putting damn good wrestlers in a ring. just frankly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the moment they put Sierra Deeb and Thunder Rosa in a ring together, the moment they put Thunder Rosa and Evilise in the ring together, the moment, just like this Saturday, they put Serena Deeb and Allie Kay in the ring together.
AK-47.
These are women who rocked it on the indies, who have wrestled together many times.
Right.
Sierra Deeb trained half of them. You're setting yourself up for failure if you think you're going to be able to put them in a ring together and them not steal your show. That is like Drew Gulak being in a ring with Daniel Bryan. And you wonder why no one wants to watch the rest of your damn show. They are able to put the women that are wrestling for this NWA title are able to put on matches with their eyes closed that are better than anything that has been done for the world title picture. Just from an in-ring perspective. Now, we can talk all day about the trash-ass promo Sierra Deeb has put together.
Right. She may be a good, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, but once you put them in the ring, bruh. And then that match with Thunder Rosa and Evilise, where you can tell they want to legit smack the shit out of each other.
It's fantastic.
That just makes this match more entertaining. In the world title picture, you don't have anything close to that.
No.
And frankly, you don't have any wrestlers who can even bring that level. Now, Sheeta can bring that level, but
That's who?
she's not wrestling people who can bring that level of competition out of her.
So I guess what I would have done, I would have flipped the booking on this one. I would go back 3 weeks to a promo that Vicky Guerrero cut about Nyla Rose being at the top of the division and not getting the opportunities that they deserved. And I would have had that promo. First of all, I would have had that promo be on actual Dynamite, and I would have let that promo would have led to a swerve. If you wanted to just book a badass women's match on Full Gear, I wouldn't have done Sheeta versus Nyla Rose. I would have done Sheeta versus. I would have gone back to the well of Sheeta versus Thunder Rosa. If you just wanted to throw something on there that was going to be cold, okay. But instead, I would have had Nyla Rose come out at the end of that NWA title match and destroy both of those women. And have Vicky cut their promo saying that that's the belt that they wanted to go after. Just to do something interesting coming out of yesterday.
I feel very differently about not differently, I just feel a certain way about the Vicky Nyla thing. Monsters don't need voice boxes.
True.
It is my problem with Nyla Rose. It is my problem with Brian Cage. Monsters don't need voice boxes. Monsters need to walk in the ring, fuck shit up, and leave.
Yeah.
I don't care why. Mm-hmm. I don't care about your backstory. Fuck you, Lars Sullivan.
I knew that was coming.
I'm just saying. It goes back to our horror movie days. The best monsters, the best horror movie villains are those you don't know shit about.
Except Candyman. Candyman was the man.
Candyman was the man.
That was the exception to the rule.
Exception to the rule. Because that was a great story before it was a great horror movie.
It really was.
Mm-hmm.
So, that aside, like Jason, I don't care. Just go kill people.
It's incredible.
Michael Myers. Just go. Like, those are the best monsters. The guys that just show up. You can't get away from them. And they fuck shit up. That's why I will never let anybody call Brock Lesnar a monster because he's always been a beast, and there's a difference there.
Mm-hmm.
But like when Braun Strowman was on like 10, that's exactly the motto he had. He came in, fucked shit up, and he left.
That whole year where
I'm
he
just saying,
was
like
Money
he
in the
literally
Bank,
just came in, fucked shit up, and that's it.
everybody said
And that's when Nyla was on point when she was that person.
Yeah, putting people through
Right.
the tables.
When Brian Cage was like throwing people out of rings in Impact. That's all they really had to do when he showed up in AEW. You could even argue Lance Archer to a certain extent, but that's Jake the Snake. I'm not kicking him out of no bed.
Right.
If we're gonna kick anybody off, let's get rid of JR and put Taz full time as your announce. That's just I'm kind of over hearing JR.
I think JR did all right last night.
I think he only messed up once. So this is
I think he did all right last night.
Okay, let's stop.
Well, you know what? He actually admitted that he messed up, like saying Cody Rhodes' name before he got the name.
Yeah.
but
it's like Taz would be much better. Same thing like Samoa Joe, right? We enjoy the only reason why we would watch Raw is because of some crazy shit Samoa Joe would say because he's actually selling the match more so than the actual writers.
Yeah, but that would make me have to admit that he won't wrestle again, and I can't do that yet.
Well, no, I mean, but we know Taz.
Taz won't wrestle.
Taz is not going to wrestle unless it's him.
He's definitely a better commentator than he is a manager.
Absolutely, and I would watch Taz. I would champion Taz to be the lead commentator on AEW.
I would say this at this point, AEW has too many groups.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong about that. And
or at least lack of focus in which they're in their factions. There's a bunch of lack of focus.
Mm-hmm.
The next episode, we should just dedicate it to AEW.
No.
And then each of us, and this is just a thought process, if you had to reboot them right now, AEW, how would you start it off? You know, kind of like reseed the entire company right now just to try to get everything the right way.
But
try to limit.
There's only one real glaring thing wrong with AEW.
Oh, we know that. And we just talked about that. It's just
everything else is just nitpicking.
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't want to see the inner circle just expand unless like you said, like the intention is to break them up so you can see Santana Ortiz go off on the tag team arena.
Mm-hmm.
I can do without Jake Hager or Wardlow, to be completely honest. I'm cool. I don't need to see either one of them.
I feel like within a year we need to see Santana and Ortiz reunite with Eddie Kingston.
But you would have to get. That's why I kind of like, all right, let's break up the inner circle. Let's start doing little things because shit, that would be fun. That would be incredibly fun to see.
I'm looking for Penta El Zero to basically, in a nutshell, become the imposter of the group.
Ooh.
And just start taking people out. And let's just start getting this storyline going with how Pentagon is going to take over AEW.
I'm for it.
Because I'm still of the belief that these factions exist so that we can kind of rotate people in and out of the singles division. And that sometime soon it'll be his turn. He kind of got roped into another group because Pac is gone, but they're doing Penta versus Phoenix again this coming Wednesday. I have to believe that Pac is going to get involved some way, somehow. I think they might have snuck him back to the U.S. I think
you can travel now, man.
You can travel, so
WWE proved it.
So
when Tony Storm showed up, I was like, okay.
Tony Storm, Rhea Ripley's back, right?
Well, Rhea Ripley's been in the States the whole time.
Or she's been stateside the whole time?
Yeah.
Okay. But Pete Dunne?
Pete Dunne was the quick one because he got over here like in a week. Or, from TV's perspective, because he was just on UK TV like a week or so ago. So you can get it done. You might have to maneuver some flights, go to one place, then another place, then another place.
And thanks for reminding me. The last NXT UK takeover that took place over the past couple of weeks, you might want to go out of your way to watch that too.
Yeah. Because
there's a certain situation between Walter and what's this guy, Dragunov?
Yeah.
Oh.
Two guys I'd never want to be slapped in the chest by. Two guys I would enjoy watching them slap somebody in the chest.
To the guy who broke into Walter's rental car when he was in Chicago last and got away with his gear and his belt. Oh, you are lucky he didn't catch you. My gosh. And just, you want to know somebody who is a difference maker in an empty arena is Walter with those damn slaps.
You don't need to pipe in noise for that shit.
No.
It's like I kind of took a deep breath. Like when you're anticipating getting slapped and you kind of go like this, you tense up. That every time I saw that, I was like, ah, held my chest. No, not again, sir.
And that was like, that was almost like a Japanese strong style match. You know how they have like that portion in the middle where they just slap the mess out of each other?
We saw that during the last Wrestle Kingdom. There was a match. Wasn't it Suzuki and Moxley when they were going back and forth?
Yeah. Well, I can take you back to
Tanahashi, wasn't it? He was involved in it.
What was the last one I watched? Sakura. They have these weird names. So it was like Sakura something. It was the one with the ticking time bomb versus Rio Lee, and they smacked each other in the chest for like 10 minutes straight. They smacked each other in the chest for 10 minutes straight, and then they continue to have a balls to the wall match in which the slapping to the chest played into different parts of the match and the finish. Storytelling. But I think that's good for our AEW Full Gear review.
Yeah, I mean it was a solid show.
Yeah, like I said, if you believe in the system, it was worth the $50, more so than the last pay-per-view. As Sean said, it just makes you miss wrestling, miss being in that crowd, miss seeing that live, and you got to keep hope alive that one day we'll get back to that point. Especially they're going to keep doing this.
We're going to get a suite at for Revolution. I'll tell you that right now.
Okay.
When that actually happens, it comes back. Not this coming up February, but next.
I was
February.
gonna say, man, what kind of plans you make?
2020 vision, baby.
Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
You got, and it's funny when you say 2020 vision because this year's made you have to think ahead.
Yeah.
So yeah, because when we sat in that second deck, I'm like, a lot of these suites are fucking empty.
Yeah, we'll fix that.
Fix that real quick.
Big baller.
Let's talk about Paige.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how the WWE cannot lose Paige
At all.
Look, McMahon family, your president is leaving. He's gone. Andrew Yang is coming.
Yang gang, baby. That's
and you have a problem on your hand with Paige, somebody who you want to keep pretty happy at this point. To get people caught up, we talked already about how the WWE was taking over superstar Twitch accounts, cameo accounts, this, that, and the third.
Even the Mixer, because they took away AJ Styles stuff.
Well, Mixer doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, I mean, you know what?
Yeah,
what he does. Yeah,
yeah. He was on Twitch.
He was on Twitch too. Okay.
Yeah, but so I think this is like officially happened like the day before Halloween, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
And there were a lot of sad goodbyes. Me and Yum put up a goodbye message. AJ Styles put up a goodbye message. Just to let you know that this was real. Everybody was kind of saying that this is just a suspension for the time being until we figure out what's going on. There were news reports about several WWE personnel that actually went to Vince to try to talk with him, reason with him, yell at him, cuss him out, and this was still happening. Some superstars will like us to believe that something better is coming along the way. We do know that the WWE is most likely going to try to strike some sort of deal with Twitch, so that basically all those revenue streams come through WWE first, and they will be allowed to distribute those. We also know that, as far as we know, Twitch streaming and doing things like this will be counted towards a superstar's obligation, and it's going to affect their what do they call it? The backside guarantee, I think it's called. Downside guarantee. Thank you.
The downside.
Which is the guarantee amount of money that a superstar can make within a year. And all the lights went out except for Paige, who says, "Sorry, I don't wrestle anymore. They barely use me on television."
If I can quote her real quick.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, she said, "I'm fucking tired, man. I broke my fucking neck twice for this company. Over fucking worked. I broke my fucking neck twice for this company. They don't realize that this community isn't about subs. We build a community and family where this is escape for a lot of people, including myself." And she, just as about a week ago, she vowed that she was going to continue streaming.
And she has continued.
Yeah. She said that she couldn't wrestle anymore. She worked so hard that she can't. Her whole dreams were taken away, and she had to have something that fulfilled that huge void, that huge fucking void that she lost with wrestling. And she's been really, really successful with the Twitch community.
Yeah, she's got one of the more successful channels in Twitch in general, not just amongst wrestling personnel. It has a community that really loves and supports her. She did mention something a while back about unionizing or looking into unionizing. I wouldn't put too much stock in that, and that's not the reason why I'm saying the WWE needs to keep her happy. I'm not worried about them unionizing at all. But if there's any one person who does these extracurricular things on the side that you do not want to leave in your company, well, I'll say two. I'll put two names up. Paige and Xavier Woods.
Yep.
You do not want neither one of these people walking out of your company with what they can take with them. And even if it's just to keep it for themselves. But because we're in the realm of professional wrestling, we would like to imagine where they would take their audience.
I think with Paige, there's another reason WWE doesn't want her to leave. And that's because of the story she could tell if she left.
Speak on it.
Paige is unique in the sense that she has, unfortunately, been the subject of multiple situations where one could speculate she has been silenced about. And pretty much the only thing that's keeping her from speaking out is her contract. And if that contract was ever to go away, she would have free reign to say whatever the fuck she wants. And she has hinted to some things very recently in regards to Alberto Del Rio. And one has to begin to wonder, what did the WWE know? There's a couple other situations I won't get into that people are familiar with, where again, you have to ask yourself, what did the WWE know? So as it relates to Paige, that is more of the story to me. I personally don't think WWE is worried about Paige leaving from a business standpoint. Mainly because of her limited physical ability at this point, if that is even a thing. Because remember, Daniel Bryan.
I don't think it's so sort of thing. I mean, in terms of wrestling, I think that even she will admit that that's just something that she shouldn't do anymore.
I get the shouldn't.
But to me, that's about it. When you say physical ability, it makes me think of other things much more than just professional wrestling.
Yeah.
Which is spec.
Yeah.
On a bigger thing, you know? This is a person that the Rock got behind and made a whole movie about.
But where's The Rock right now? Where's The Rock?
I mean, The Rock is sitting on top of a hill.
You know what I'm saying? But that's not a WWE heel no more.
No, what I'm saying is that I don't think she's limited in the sense that she wanted to go in that direction.
Oh, no. I agree with that. I'm just saying from a WWE perspective. From a superstar standpoint. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
There is not a reason for them that we can see for her. I put it like this. I could see why they don't see a lot of value in her. And I'm not saying that's right. I say I just can see it just based on WWE thinking, which is why they're not using her. Because if they see value in it, they're going to find a way to use you. That's why I feel her value as it relates to WWE right now is her silence. Because, again, she could be the host of Talking Smack. She could be the host of, whatever Raw Talk is, whatever the fuck that is. She could be the host of that. Now that Renee's gone. There are ways to get people involved. Shit, Adam Pearce is involved.
Mm-hmm.
As I say, I'm not. And again, if they can get Pete Dunne over the pond, they can get Paige over the pond. If Paige is sitting in a chair doing Twitch, it's because that's where WWE wants her to sit in that chair. Because if they wanted her to do anything else, they'd make it happen. That's just my feeling on it right now. Shit, she could be walking around being a manager for somebody right now. Like she was for the Kapuka Warriors. She wasn't getting physically involved. She was perfectly safe in that regard. If she's sitting at home right now, that's where the WWE wants her to be. So the question is, why is that? Because if we see so much value in Paige, that means WWE knows that potential value is there. Paige has a fan base, a devoted fan base that has seen her through thick and fucking thin. They've seen her through Del Rio. They've seen her through other stuff that, we don't need to go into. Her family story is just more interesting than the other. Shit, her family was in the speaking out movement.
Mm-hmm. Well, people need to understand that her family is wrestling royalty, just like any other family.
Correct. But I'm saying, with all this being said, she sits at home with her rock star boyfriend. And she's not Maurice popping out kids. Because I think if Maurice wasn't popping out kids, she'd be out there with the Miz. Just like she was.
Mm-hmm.
So it may be time to ask ourselves, why is Paige sitting at home? Now, if it's a Paige decision, that's a whole nother ballgame. But based on her emotion, it doesn't seem like that's the case.
It seems like she's accepted the fact that she's not going to get into the ring, but she still wants to work and be useful and of value.
Correct.
No, wrestling's in her blood, right? It's like
the business is in her blood.
Yeah, hard to get that out. Hard to go cold turkey, and Twitch is only going to help so much. The streaming is going to help so much, but it's not going to completely scratch that itch.
Scratch that financial itch at $45K a month. Because that's what she was making.
Yep.
And what do you call it? We hope that everything's okay with her because she's had a rough last 48 hours too. She did come out and detail everything that did happen with her and Alberto Del Rio. Then TMZ, of course, the bane of social media existence, goes and tries to get a quote from the guy. And now she's being threatened with lawsuits by Alberto Del Rio as he's facing life in prison himself. And then she had a stalker attempt to break in their home where her boyfriend ended up giving him the hands. Luckily, he was there and he took care of business. But, man, she's hope everything goes well for her going forward, settles down and gets what she deserves.
Okay. While we're on the topic of WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For those who under a rock, recently Randy Orton became the 14th time world champion in WWE. And to many, this was a groaning type effect because it is commonly known that, at least from a Wrestle Universe standpoint, Randy Orton's considered to be a pretty boring character. And I use the word character on TV. His wrestling style isn't spot monkey, as some would say. His matches are typically long, typically slow, plotting matches, as they are in pay-per-view. There are some that would say, because he's been 14-time champion, he's been in the game for, I think, 20 years now, that Randy Orton is underappreciated as a legend in this business. I simply think of Randy Orton as the Kawhi Leonard of wrestling. And the reason I say that is because a lot of the things people say about Randy Orton, people say about Kawhi Leonard. People tend to say that Kawhi Leonard is a boring superstar in the NBA. He's not very emotional. He's not fiery. His style of play is not very flashy. But it's effective as fuck. Randy Orton, like Kawhi Leonard, also came up in a time where there was someone else who was considered the GOAT. Kawhi has LeBron, Orton has John Cena. Both lead me to the thought process that both are underappreciated for their skill, per se. Because I've heard other wrestlers online or on interviews say, like, when it comes to being in a ring, one of the best people they've ever been in a ring with is Orton. Now, Orton has also been considered to be a jerk in real life to a lot of people, which may add to his, should I say, unappreciation from fans for his in-ring work. But just in general, I think it's time we recognize, at least from what we see on TV, or the art, as I would say, of Randy Orton, to start appreciating it. Because he's done it. He's done it for a while. He's consistently been one of the better characters on TV when it comes to WWE for at least the past 15 years, if not longer. But for some reason, no one wants to see him be champion, which is interesting to me.
So Kawhi, not Tim Duncan?
No. Tim Duncan's loved. And Tim Duncan would not be Tim Duncan was never considered one of the best players in the game while he was playing, which is unfortunate in that regard. And I agree with you there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily think I agree with you. He was regarded as the top power forward in the game.
Top power forward in the game, but top player in the game.
You didn't need to. You don't need to be a superstar in Popovich's system, though.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, you just made the same parallel with Kawhi Leonard, and Kawhi Leonard was a product of Popovich's system.
Correct. But then he went to Toronto and did it without Popovich's system.
And failed to do it with the Clippers, a team of superstars.
Correct. But was he not still the best player on that team? I think you're making my point for me. Like, everywhere he's been arguably the best player on his team, yet not be recognized as one of the best players in the league. Like, when people talk about best players in the league right now, when it comes to NBA, his name is like brought up like 4th, 5th.
Behind
LeBron, KD. Might throw Curry in there. I'm just saying there's a lot of players that people say before Kawhi. And I think Kawhi's like 2 because of the two-way play. There's no better two-way player aside from LeBron right now in the game.
Okay. I get it from that perspective. I mean, okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I'm about to talk about Randy Orton.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's a couple things to dissect here. For the most part, when I hear people not liking Randy Orton, the only legit complaint that I hear is the slow, methodical pacing of his matches. I think the last time that him and Cena feuded, they kind of addressed a lot of those other issues in terms of him not being great, even though, he was set up to be that way. For me personally, Randy Orton peaked really early, and that wasn't his fault. They were so mad at Brock Lesnar leaving the company that they had to get a new youngest WWE heavyweight champion in the books. But like the greatest things that Randy Orton would do wouldn't come to like much later. I would say right around the Legend Killer gimmick. The industry in any company needs a Randy Orton. And the reason why a lot of people say they love working with Randy Orton is because he's a product of the Triple H lineage of in-ring performing. Knowing where you're at and where your opponent is at any given time. You know what I'm saying? Knowing when to speed up, knowing when to slow down, knowing how to work psychology into matches. Unfortunately, when you do those things, that makes the match slow. That slows down the pacing of a match. That's just the nature of it. But it's definitely a part of professional wrestling. Hell, think about the first 10 minutes of the Young Bucks match? The first 10 minutes of the Young Bucks match was almost a snore. But that's that whole pacing, ring psychology stuff. That's a part of professional wrestling, unfortunately. And you need that balance. It's the company that he works for that misuses and abuses that. Here's a good case theory for it. The first match between Edge and Randy Orton, when Edge returned, was the Falls Count Anywhere match. Right?
Right.
That match had a lot of incredible spots in it. But people complained that match just drug on too long. The second match between them was the greatest wrestling match of all time.
I think we need that music if you're going to say that.
Well, I mentioned that for a specific reason because there's an epilogue to that.
Right.
People will argue that this was a much better match, and that this damn near was the best, if not the second best match of the night of that pay-per-view. Both of those matches were the same length.
Mm-hmm.
That's the punchline of this whole situation. And the epilogue of the situation is that 2 weeks later, the WWE itself put out a list of the greatest matches of all time, and this was number 4. So, to prove my point, it's the company that they work for that does the shooting of the foot of Randy Orton in these situations. If it's not a foregone conclusion to you at this point, we're getting Randy Orton versus John Cena, 16-16. Winner gets to break that record. And the reason why anybody would feel that way, to just fall asleep at just the sheer thought of that, is squarely on the company that they work for. And abusing what they had with both of these superstars. They both started at the same time. Obviously, you chose one, quote, aka Roman Reigns.
Mm-hmm.
but you didn't know what you had with your Dean Ambrose or your Seth Rollins. You know, you just can't trust this company to preserve legacies the way that legacies used to be preserved in this company and in the industry as a whole. You just can't trust them to do it. They ruined everything.
You know what's really funny right now, and you can't hear this? I don't know what's going on, what my wife is watching, but it's like this real melancholy-ass music going on, and it's blending perfectly with what you're saying.
You want me to put the old school Incredible Hulk theme to this?
And then it was just like...
That's funny. You know what? The production value of the podcast is going to increase in due time.
Oh my god, we should hear this music.
We're going to be so prepared for these moments. But yeah, I mean, you cannot trust this company to preserve legacies, and that's why all of this is a groan.
Right.
Randy Orton beating Drew McIntyre for this championship and for this feud to kind of continue is the best thing to happen for this title, the best thing that happened for Drew McIntyre, you know what I mean? To put him in this program, this long program with this veteran who knows exactly what he's doing when he's inside of that ring. Now, the other sad part about this is that I don't think that when Edge comes back inevitably for Rumble or even WrestleMania, that their third match needs to have a title.
I didn't think so either, but they're going to do it.
They're going to do it.
It's Vince. Vince is going to do it.
It's already written.
Just like when Goldberg wanted to come back, it had to be for the title for some dumb reason.
And I was just reminded about that because I think What Culture did like the top 5 greatest Jericho moments in wrestling history. And they talked about the storyline with him and Kevin Owens and how that was supposed to end up as a Universal title match at WrestleMania.
Right.
But it got bumped for Goldberg and Brock Lesnar for the title. Yeah.
No. That WrestleMania wasn't. Oh, it was Brock and.
Yeah, it was Brock and Goldberg.
Yeah, because that was the third match in that thing.
Right.
Yeah. Boo. So, moral of the story is Goldberg fucks up everything.
He is going to mess everything up
Since
he is coming back.
Yeah.
He's on the contract for two matches a year, and one of them is not going to be Saudi Arabia this year. Next year.
And that's and this is the funny and not funny, whatever thing you want to call it. This is when we miss the Saudi Arabia shows. Because that contract was made for the Saudi Arabia shows.
Yes.
And that way they could throw those matches away in the Saudi Arabia shows instead of like major U.S. pay-per-views.
It's not lost on me that we're finally going to say goodbye to The Undertaker because these shows are not happening. It's not lost on me that we're
as long as he's under contract, I am not. He is the new Ric Flair to me.
Damn.
I'm serious. I'm dead serious. I'm sorry. The only thing that would have made me think that he would actually ride off in the sunset is him not be under the contract. Because as long as he's under contract, you saw it in that last ride. If Vince talks to him a certain way, and Michelle McCool admitted it, all Vince has to do is talk to him, and he considers it. So if Vince can convince him that they can make it happen, he's not going to sit there and get paid for another, 15 years that he's on the contract for? And not show up for anything? Bruh, stop.
Random happy tidbit: the same people who worked on the Last Ride documentary series for The Undertaker are currently working on one for Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, the guys that did the Last Dance one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
Not some WWE shit. I want to see some shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited about that.
What else we got?
Shout out to Sasha Banks for winning the title. Flowers to her.
I think on the other outline I had like a whole Sasha Banks appreciation.
Well, we'll just say it for now. Like, salute to the Queen.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a damn good match on Friday too.
Yeah. So yeah. Just I guess real quick, like shout out to Sasha Banks. Second Grand Slam. Triple Crown in the same year.
Ladies are carrying wrestling.
Yeah.
And now she about to get that Disney money.
Yep. Mandalorian season 2 has debuted. I don't know if her episode has debuted yet, but
She popped up at the end of the second. I haven't watched it yet because I purposely told myself I'm gonna let a few episodes pile up before I watch them.
Oh,
no. Apparently she showed up at the end of this second one.
The second episode?
It's like a mystery. No one knows who she is yet.
Got you.
I've seen both episodes. I didn't see her at all.
Maybe she was second. I don't know. I didn't see anything. I
don't want to spoil it for you, but
yeah,
there's something major that pops up at the second. It's not Sasha Banks.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I think you're still okay with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait probably like 4 episodes in before I start watching it.
Yeah, I got Claire into it. So she's excited.
I don't like when it comes to streaming shows. I understand why people do it, especially Disney, but I don't like the whole episode week by week thing.
That's not what I pay for.
Right. Like with The Boys, I waited to
want it all when
right
I
now.
want. That's why you put it there so I can consume it at my taking.
Yeah.
The way that I want it.
Yeah.
So I should say like that.
Great. This perfectly segues into my little rant about people who are crying about long AEW Dark shows.
Well, the floor is now yours, sir.
On YouTube. Why are we complaining about wrestling? We wanted more wrestling. We wanted more wrestling. We wanted to see more wrestling. We wanted to see more in-ring action. AEW is giving it to us in a YouTube channel.
Stop it.
You can stop. You can freeze it. You can watch it on your phone. You can watch one match at a time. You can watch one match a day every week. Why are we complaining about the length of a YouTube show? I don't get it.
Because there's nothing else to complain about. We can't go outside.
There's still 3 hours of Monday Night Raw. Right? There's still
up on Raw.
There's still pay-per-views that just go way over what they're supposed to.
We've given up on Raw.
Can I play devil's advocate?
Yeah.
Because you rarely see these matches translate on Dynamite.
I don't care about that.
So?
Yeah, I don't care about that.
But that's what we were. I mean,
2 separate shows. No, don't care.
Don't do that shit because you gotta bring up the rest of the fucking brand. It can't be just fucking inner circle all the fucking time.
Okay, look. Here's my counter act to that. Okay, this is the Dark show, right?
Yeah.
We all know what dark matches mean.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. They're practice. Right.
Yep.
Not all of them are going to be great.
Not all of them.
So once you witness a match that's not great, you fast forward that bitch.
Yeah.
First
you go on
of
to
all,
the next match.
That option.
That way you're not sitting there for 3 hours. Oh, I have to watch all 3 hours because I had to get the continuity of the storyline between AEW Dark and BT.
Storylines with these.
Get the fuck out of here.
Bruh.
Get out of here.
Let me tell you something. Those bitching about AEW Dark should not be watching AEW.
No.
All right. This is how I compare. WWE is a comic book. AEW is a graphic novel. All right? There's more fucking to it. All right? If you want to keep up with the storylines, you're going to have to put your work in. If you want to just show up on Wednesdays and watch great wrestling, you can do that too. All right? But AEW has lore, or at least they're trying to create lore.
Mm-hmm.
That lore goes from BTE, it goes from Dark, it goes from other things that are out there because Sammy Guevara got his vlogs out there that he does from time to time. Other people got other stuff they put on. Miro with his, Twitch channel. Like, if you really want to dig in deep, you're going to have to put your work in. You have to grind. And they announced all 13 damn matches before Dark airs. So if that shit's too much for you, don't watch. That's like getting handed a book called Dune. And on the cover, it says it's 700 pages long. And then you read halfway through and be like, this shit's too long. Dude,
I've never
you were told ahead of time.
Just a friendly admission. I've never read Doom.
No one's read Dune.
I don't think anybody has, right?
No one's read Dune.
No.
We're still waiting for the new movie to come out.
All right?
The new game.
Anybody who said it's actually gotten through the book is lying to you. All right? They're just lying. Or they tag team on it. I read this half, you read the other half. And then we'll talk about it.
Your continuity is going to be maybe some of the commentary that happens at the beginning of a match. Maybe it's going to be an angle that's at the end of a match. Maybe it's going to be an interview, say in between matches. That's where your continuity is going to lie. Your continuity is not going to lie in a rest hold.
And what
the first 2 minutes of a match.
The other thing people need to realize about Dark, and if you can't appreciate it, fuck you. Dark has made stars that we would normally not see in wrestling. People have shown up at Dark basically off the street, meaning that we've never seen them before. We don't know who they are, and made themselves to be stars. Anybody know who Abaddon was before Dark?
No.
Exactly.
Don't lie.
Right.
Don't lie to me. Show me the receipt.
But now,
don't lie.
Without the injury, she's one of the top wanted women wrestlers in AEW. There are a number of, who's that? Ben Carter guy?
Yeah.
Was wrestling on Dark for free and got himself a contract in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people are making themselves to be stars off of Dark. A number of people have wrestled on Dark, impressed the people watching, and have gotten themselves real contracts. Shut up. If you want to complain about it, don't watch it. It's okay. We won't care. Just read, go ahead, read the, Bleacher Report, Cliff Notes, and then you could join us on the chat.
Yeah, stick to your no DQs and whatever else that other site is.
Yeah. Go ahead and read your Cliff Notes. DQ. Join us on the chat like you know what you're talking about. But
don't bring that shit up, especially since I got yelled at during the offline podcast in caps.
In caps.
Think you are the president's media team going to send me a release in caps?
Caps, son.
Whatever. I'm done. I'm done.
Can I have a mini rant?
Go for it.
Sports networks need to stop talking shit about breaking news like they did all last week with Tom Brady and Drew Brees. They're still fucking active. When one retires, then you can talk about them breaking the touchdown record. They're still in the league, 55 years and older.
Hold on.
Leave it alone.
Hold on. But this is the funny thing about that.
It's not breaking news.
No. I was watching the game in which he did it. And they didn't even mention it in the game. It came up as a little scroll on the bottom. I was like, oh, shit. They didn't even mention it in the game. Like, the broadcaster was like, he scored a touchdown. It wasn't until, later you saw breaking news.
And
Drew Brees breaks the record.
It was constant red at the bottom. I was like,
right.
Motherfucker. And they just had a little graphic on it on NBC playing cornhole. That Drew Brees has thrown 3 more touchdowns now. It's like, shut the fuck up. Drew Brees is probably going to throw about 20 more the way that he's got his team.
I don't know. He's going to have to throw farther than 5 yards.
They're just so excited to get a little piece of news that they can report on in sports, since it's just
in an era where we have nothing really going on. Yeah,
it reminds me of that Mark Phillips video, that RDC World video, where they did like a skit of them being ESPN. They were like, did we run all NASCAR? Yeah, we ran all the NASCAR. Okay, start running anime. We ran all the anime. Yep, we ran all of this. We need some more content. Like
that was my thing, right? It's not breaking news until one of them retires.
There you go.
You know what is breaking
same
news?
Same thing. No, what is?
And this is just a testament of not giving up. Des Bryant last played in the NFL in 2017. He may not have caught a ball today, but he was on the field with the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, congratulations to him. Isn't that crazy? The poetry behind that?
That's just,
that he declined a multi-million-dollar contract with the Ravens for millions of dollars, and then ends up signing with them for the practice squad for $25,000 a week.
You know what? Irony.
Mm-hmm.
In the NFL, I mean, why wouldn't you take the check? They can put you tomorrow.
As Des Bryant.
Yeah.
I mean, Dak Prescott.
Well, Dak got 30 guaranteed, though, for this year. 30 guaranteed.
Yeah. But he could have had 100 guaranteed. He wanted 120.
He's still going to get paid.
I hope so. But it's the Cowboys, so I don't trust him.
I don't trust any quarterbacks in Washington either. Poor Washington. Another quarterback with another broken leg the opposite way. Ugh.
And then the last guy it happened to gets to come in for him.
Yeah. Sweet poetry.
And real talk, I mean, tip of the cap to Alex Smith as well, for playing his first significant snaps in 2 years as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't win the game, but hey.
He played his ass off, though.
Played his ass off. Threw for 300 yards off the bench. With a embarrassing receiving core that Washington has. But you did lose to the Giants, so there's really no excuse.
Oh, Danny Dimes. At least he didn't have to run 87 yards to fall down in his face again.
That's the new buff fumble, man. Real talk. That's the new buff fumble.
No, the Jets are always going to jet.
The Jets are going to jet.
Yeah. You can't get in front of that. Jets are always going to be the Jets.
Watch the game tomorrow night. That would be a game they win.
Shout out to Gary V.
Hey.
He is hoping that the Jets stay affordable.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they if the Jets are smart, they sign Gary V to motivational talk Trevor Lawrence to go into the fucking Jets and not forcing his way out.
Real talk. I'd take Justin Fields over Trevor Lawrence.
It's interesting. It's an interesting take from the guy who wanted the new day to break up since I was 7.
But it happened.
Because you put it out there finally. The universe had a bunch of shit going on. COVID.
Just do it.
It was like, I'm fine.
It's like COVID, 93 hurricanes, and it's like, all right, well, this new day thing is something new. Let's give it a try.
And now it looks like it happened for nothing, which is so shitty.
Well, it's the same thing with the Iconics. You broke them out to push Peyton, and now they're back together. So, yeah, as the world turns.
The world turns.
Oh, we need some more melancholy music in the background.
You
know what? No, it's we're gonna have to pop open the Anchor app, and then I'll hook up the Bluetooth because you know how we get that soft music in the background while we're recording. I'll just play that. Just play that during the entire podcast. It's like, oh man,
I'll be having to go and do my podcast.
Yeah, I gotta go eat some dinner and then watch some more Among Us videos on YouTube.
I ate dinner while you guys were expounding on some parts. So I appreciate you.
Oh, that
Thank you.
sounds
Thank you for
bad.
being so
Oh, that
eloquent.
sounds bad.
No, I said thank you for being so eloquent.
Expounding on parts.
I mean, you guys. I mean, there was a lot of valid points made today, especially about Full Gear. We were very happy with Full Gear, considering. But yes,
Yeah.
let's see where it goes from here. I'll actually watch Dynamite on Wednesday
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out too.
because it's kind of like those major pay-per-views, like with the other company that you want to watch the Monday night after it.
Yeah,
I'll watch Wednesday to see where they go from here. Where's the storyline going?
and I'm gonna watch all 24 hours of AEW Dark on Tuesday.
Hey, I'm quarantined. I might join you. We'll do a watch party like we did for Wrestle Kingdom. Hey, it's 2:00. We got AEW Dark's on. What match are you on? 14. Good stuff.
All right. Rod.
And with that being said, just remember that this podcast, the Wisemen Wrestling Podcast, is and will forever be for the culture. Also follow us on Twitter at We Are the Wisemen because we do want that smoke. You can also find us on Wisemen Wrestling Podcast on the other platforms. And you're listening to us wherever you are listening to us, courtesy of Anchor.fm and YouTube. Remember that attention is currency. You vote with your dollars. And even if you are a mark, make sure you leave a positive mark on this life.